Today on Royal Sussex Squad, we're diving deep into the latest chapter of the royal family drama that refuses to heal. It's the story of a father and son caught in a web of pride and betrayal. But make no mistake, this isn't about protocol. It's about pain, love, and a son's desperate wish to protect his family. And once again, it's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle showing us what real courage looks like, even as the world tries to paint them as the problem. Let's start with the obvious. King Charles is battling cancer. He's 76 years old, facing weekly treatments, and still trying to project an image of a strong, unifying monarch. He's out there in Canada, giving speeches about peace and unity, while sitting on thrones carved from Windsor trees. The whole scene is carefully orchestrated to tell the world that the monarchy is steady, that the king is still in control. But the irony? His own family is falling apart. And he's done nothing, absolutely nothing, to mend those deep wounds. How can he speak about unity when he can't even speak to his own son? This isn't just about Harry. This is about Archie and Lilibet. This is about the future of a family that should be bonded in love, not torn apart by palace politics and petty vendettas. Harry knows that. And that's why he's been the only one in this whole sorry mess to say, publicly and privately, that he wants reconciliation. When Harry told the BBC that he doesn't know how much longer his father has, you could hear the heartbreak in his voice. That's a son's plea. That's a son who has seen his father grow frail, who understands that time is running out, and yet instead of that being met with compassion, what do we see? The British press twists it into another attack, another way to paint Harry as the villain. Let's get real here. Harry has nothing to gain by speaking out except the truth. He's not playing games. He's not trying to burn the monarchy down. He's trying to protect his children, his wife, and his own sanity. He's trying to honour his mother's memory by refusing to live a lie. And how does the palace respond? With silence, with more stories planted in the press, more whispers about how Harry and Meghan can't be trusted. Trust, that's the buzzword they keep repeating. But let's be honest, trust is a two-way street. How can Harry trust a family that has never lifted a finger to protect him or Meghan from the media onslaught? How can he trust a family that stripped him of security, left his family vulnerable, and then acts like he's unreasonable for demanding answers? We know the truth. This lack of trust isn't about Harry and Meghan. It's about a royal family so obsessed with appearances that they'd rather sacrifice their own son's peace of mind than admit the system is broken. It's about a brother, William, who has chosen cold indifference over brotherly love. And it's about a father who would rather polish his public image than pick up the phone and call his own child. Think about that for a moment. King Charles is surrounded by advisers who won't dare to tell him the hard truths. Queen Camilla, who was so eager to rehabilitate her own image that she didn't care who got hurt in the process, wants no part of this. Even William, the heir to the throne, has shown no interest in fixing things with his brother. And so Charles sits, week after week, doing nothing. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan are living their lives with dignity in California. They're raising two beautiful children. They're building a future for themselves, away from the toxicity of the British media and the stifling traditions of the monarchy. They're showing us all what it looks like to prioritise love and family above titles and status. But that's not enough for the press. Oh no, they'd rather spin Harry's every word into an insult, every silence into a snub. They'd rather pretend that Harry and Meghan are the cause of this rift, when the truth is they're the only ones brave enough to try to heal it. Let's not forget why Harry and Meghan left in the first place. It wasn't about abandoning duty, it was about survival. It was about Meghan being vilified by the tabloids, day after day, with no protection from the palace. It was about Harry watching history repeat itself, seeing the woman he loves go through the same torment his mother endured, and he refused to let that happen. So when the palace talks about trust, let's remember, Harry and Meghan trusted the royal family once. They trusted that family to protect them, to respect them, to love them. And that trust was shattered. Now they're the ones blamed for demanding honesty and transparency. And what about security? Harry has made it crystal clear he will not put his family at risk. He knows the dangers they face, not just from the paparazzi, but from the forces that thrive on tearing them down. He's asked for what any responsible father would ask, the ability to keep his wife and children safe. But the palace has stonewalled him, hiding behind legalese and bureaucracy, while Harry is left to navigate threats on his own. That's not family. That's a cold institution more concerned with preserving its image than protecting its own. And yet, even with all this, Harry continues to extend the hand of peace. He's said again and again that he's open to reconciliation. That's not weakness, that's strength, that's love. That's a man who knows that family is more than bloodlines and titles. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. And it's not just Harry and Meghan who suffer in this. Archie and Lilibet are growing up without a relationship with their grandfather. They're growing up in a world where the people who should be their protectors have chosen silence. That's the real tragedy here. But let's be clear, Harry and Meghan are not going to let that define them. They're building a life that's rooted in love and authenticity. They're not waiting for the palace to change. They're leading by example. They're showing the world that healing starts at home, even if the rest of the world can't see it. So, what do we take away from all this? We see a king more concerned with speeches and ceremonies than his own family. We see a brother so consumed by his own narrative that he can't find it in his heart to be a brother. And we see a father who still hasn't found the courage to say, "I'm sorry, I love you, let's fix this." But in the midst of it all, we see Harry and Meghan standing strong. We see them choosing love over loyalty to a system that never had their backs. We see them refusing to let the lies define them, and that's something to be celebrated. And that's why here at Royal Sussex Squad, we will always stand with Harry and Meghan. We will always call out the hypocrisy, the double standards, and the toxic narratives that seek to paint them as the villains. We know the truth. Harry and Meghan are the ones who have shown the most courage, the most grace, and the most integrity. To King Charles we say this: your legacy isn't just about thrones and crowns. It's about whether you have the strength to mend the wounds in your own family. Time is running out. Harry has shown he's ready. The question is, are you? To Prince William we say, you can't claim to be a modern leader if you can't show compassion to your own brother. The world is watching. History will remember who reached out and who stayed silent. And to our Sussex Squad community, let's keep lifting Harry and Meghan up. Let's keep sharing their truth, their humanity, and their hope for a better future. Because no matter how many headlines try to spin this story, we know who the real villains are. And it's not Harry and Meghan. If you're here for this truth, if you're here for this journey, don't forget to subscribe to Royal Sussex Squad and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And if you want to help us keep telling these important stories and shining a light on the truth, please consider dropping a super thanks below. Every contribution helps us stand strong and speak out for what's right. A father and son, King Charles and Prince Harry, stand divided by pride and pain. Their estrangement is more than a family rift. It's a tragedy magnified by tradition and public scrutiny. The ache of a broken bond weighs heavily on both as the world watches and hopes for healing. Titles and crowns offer no shield from the universal longing for connection. Harry has voiced his wish for family, not just the institution, but the distance only grows. The glare of headlines amplifies their pain, turning every gesture into public spectacle. We see a son reaching out and a father torn between duty and emotion. The challenge is immense, to bridge a chasm built by history, pride and misunderstanding. This is not just their story. It echoes the struggles of families everywhere. The promise of unity seems dim, yet hope persists. Families can be resilient and love can bridge even the widest divides. The question remains, will they find the will to dismantle the walls between them? Can they reconnect, not as monarch and prince, but as father and son? The world waits for a sign that healing is possible. In the end, it's the human story beneath the crown that matters most. King Charles faces two battles, a public fight with illness and a private struggle to heal his family. He projects strength for the nation, embodying the monarchy's continuity. Yet behind palace walls, the rift with Harry remains unresolved. The contrast is stark, public composure, private sorrow. While he champions causes and unity, his own family's disunity is a painful irony. True leadership may require vulnerability and the courage to address private pain. The silence from the palace speaks volumes. Kings are fathers too, and duty cannot erase the ache of estrangement. The public expects stability, but the human heart feels deeply. Charles's greatest challenge may be reconciling with his son. The hope endures that he'll find the strength to heal both his nation and his family. Prince Harry has openly sought reconciliation, expressing his longing for family over institution. His actions, flying home during his father's illness, reaching out privately, speak volumes. Yet the media often twists his efforts, casting him as either attention-seeking or uncaring. Every gesture is scrutinized, fueling division rather than healing. The narrative paints Harry as the provocateur, ignoring his repeated overtures. Leaving the royal family was about safety and well-being, not rebellion. His pleas for understanding are reframed as attacks, making resolution elusive. The media's role in perpetuating conflict is significant. Despite hostility, Harry's persistence shows his desire for reconciliation is real. He knows these relationships matter, especially for his children. The real question, are others willing to listen beyond the headlines? Reconciliation demands honest engagement from all sides. Only then can healing begin. Why did Harry and Meghan leave the UK? The answer is complex. Their departure was a quest for safety, dignity, and a healthier environment for their family. Years of media intrusion and lack of institutional support made their position untenable. They sought a life where their children could grow up free from relentless scrutiny. This was not abandoning duty, but redefining it on their own terms. Both have a history of service and advocacy, now continued in California. Their move was an act of protection, shaped by Harry's memories of his mother's struggles. It was about asserting their right to peace and security. Ultimately, it was a brave step toward a healthier, more authentic life. Harry and Meghan's departure is also a story of institutional failure. The monarchy had a duty to protect its members, especially under attack. Meghan's arrival exposed the institution's inability to shield her from hostility. Silence and lack of support left them isolated and vulnerable. The contrast in treatment deepened the divide and eroded trust. The never complain, never explain mantra proved inadequate in a modern world. Institutional neglect, not just external pressure, drove them away. The monarchy missed a chance to modernize and protect all equally. Its actions pushed Harry and Meghan further, leaving a painful legacy. At the heart of this saga is the meaning of family, trust and security. For Harry, protecting Meghan and their children is paramount, shaped by his own childhood loss. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Words alone aren't enough. The security they sought was emotional as much as physical. They want their children to know their heritage, but also to be safe from negativity. The tragedy is in the lost moments and missed connections. Every decision is made with their children's well-being in mind. True family and security are found in love and mutual respect, not titles. Their journey is about building an unbreakable bond beyond royal protocols. In California, Harry and Meghan are forging a new life on their own terms. They focus on service, advocacy and family, finding purpose beyond royal constraints. Their warmth and forward-thinking stand in contrast to the monarchy's traditions. Their resilience in the face of criticism is commendable. The real legacy is not in titles, but in healing and nurturing family bonds. Empathy for their journey is about recognizing their courage to choose authenticity. Let's hope for healing, not just for them, but for all families divided by pain. Their story reminds us compassion and truth are the foundations of real connection. Prince Harry and King Charles's royal rift that won't heal. The underlying issue is trust. Exclusive. Father and son face a pivotal moment as the King's cancer diagnosis adds urgency to hopes for reconciliation before it's too late. King Charles faces increasing pressure to repair his fractured relationship with Prince Harry. Despite Harry's public call for reconciliation, the monarch has yet to make a personal move toward reconciliation. Trust remains the biggest barrier to a reunion. Insiders say neither King Charles nor Prince William are ready to bridge the divide. As King Charles sat on a throne carved from Windsor trees at Canada's Parliament on May 27th, delivering a message of unity amid rising US-Canada tensions, his estranged son, Prince Harry, was thousands of miles away in Shanghai. Though briefly on the same continent, father and son remain emotionally worlds apart. The true north is indeed strong and free, Charles, 76, declared, earning praise for his statesmanship even as he continues weekly cancer treatments. He could give a masterclass in diplomatic relations, Ailsa Anderson, former press secretary to Queen Elizabeth, tells people in this week's cover story. But another challenge looms, one no speech can fix. His fractured relationship with his son, who told the BBC in May, "I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me." The man Charles called his darling boy was meant to be one of his reliable lieutenants he could call on to support the monarchy, says royal historian Dr. Ed Owens, author of After Elizabeth, Can the Monarchy Save Itself? That vision unravelled in 2020 when Harry and Meghan Markle, 43, stepped back from royal duties and moved to Montecito, California. The rift deepened with bombshell interviews, their Netflix docuseries, and Harry's best-selling memoir Spare, which alleged a physical altercation with Prince William, 42. While William remains firmly estranged from Harry and Meghan, some royal observers believe it's King Charles, head of the Church of England and a long-time advocate for unity, who should take the first step. But inside palace walls, hesitation reigns. At times there has been a desire to reconnect. But the underlying issue is trust, says royal biographer Sally Bedell-Smith. The King and William don't trust Harry and Meghan with any kind of confidential conversation. Charles, insiders say, isn't surrounded by voices encouraging reconciliation. William has shown no interest in extending an olive branch, and Queen Camilla, 77, sharply criticised in Spare, stays out of it, says a source. Even senior aides like Clive Alderton, also mentioned in Harry's memoir, are unlikely to push for a personal outreach. There is not a good angel in his ear to say, "Be a good dad and make the first move," says Valentine Lowe, author of the upcoming book Power and the Palace. Despite Harry's call for peace, his BBC comments were widely seen as another blow. "It wasn't meant to be an attack, but it would be seen as one," Lowe says. "It makes Charles reaching out even harder. And with the King still being treated for an undisclosed type of cancer, the stakes are growing. If you have that level of breach in a family and you are estranged, you run that risk every day of having something unfathomable to deal with," says Catherine Mayer, author of Charles, the Heart of a King. Even before recent events, Charles and Harry's dynamic was complex. Harry, the son of a broken marriage, lost his mother, Princess Diana, in tragic and public circumstances. Amid the rift with his father, Harry spoke with his uncle Charles Spencer about changing his family's last name to his mother's surname Spencer, but was told the legal hurdles would be too great. There is so much baggage there that the idea that one meeting would resolve everything is ridiculous, Meyer tells people. But having some contact would seem better than none. At the heart of the dispute is security. Harry says losing his official protection endangers his family, making him unwilling to bring Meghan and their children, Prince Archie, 6, and Princess Lilibet, who turns 4 on June 4th, to the UK. He believes Charles can reverse the decision, but the palace says the courts have examined it repeatedly and meticulously. Lowe warns that the split could potentially damage Charles's legacy. Still, he believes most people can separate the private drama from his public role. This is a family rift rather than a constitutional rift. It's what happens to families. Both sides have to reach a point where they realise they can't carry on as they are. For now, father and son remain focused on their separate paths across the Atlantic. Harry, backed by a new communications team, is exploring new commercial ventures alongside his philanthropic work. Charles Cormer, meanwhile, continues to show stamina. A senior aide noted after the Canada trip that the King is managing his illness amid incredible advances in medicine and is determined to live life as normal as possible. For Harry, that resolve may offer a glimmer of hope. "I would like to think the King will take that step toward reconciliation with Harry in due course," Owens says.